So this follows a group of 4 teens who are the survivor. Hello everybody, my name is Kelsey and we're about to get very, very nerdy. All the books that I wish that I'd read this year. So this is a video that I cannot claim to have thought of myself. I was going through my list of books or videos that I wanted to do by the end of the year, my kind of like December-y end of the year wrap up kind of videos, and discovering that I needed to do a lot more than I thought that I was going to, which was fine. So I was planning that out, and I still had one day that I didn't know what to do with, which was today. And I was stressing about it until Hailey from Bookland released her Bookmas video schedule and ideas, and I saw this one on there and I thought this was such a cool idea, so I am stealing it from her. She said it was fine, we could borrow them as long as we told you who thought of it, so this is me doing that. So yeah, I will leave her channel linked down below just so you guys, I'm sure many of you already know who she is, but just in case, go check her out. She's awesome. She's so much fun to watch. So I strive to be her in my life. But that's where this video came from. So I have a stack. 7, 10, somewhere. I have a number of books to show you as books that I wish I'd gotten around to this year. Some of them are because of my life situation. Some of them are new releases that I wish I'd gotten to. But let's just go through all the books that I probably should have gotten to, and I just didn't. Time ran out. What can I say? So the very first book is one of my most anticipated releases this year, and I'm really bitter at myself for not reading it, so hopefully I can get to it relatively quickly at the beginning of next year, and that is Soul of Stars by Ashley Poston. This is the second to her book Heart of Iron, which I read last year, and wasn't my favorite last year, but it was in my top 5, I think. It was really high. I loved it. It's basically a retelling of the story of Anastasia, but set in space. And I got it from Owl Crate, and some of those times Owl Crate books are hit and miss with me, and I picked that one up, and holy crap, it was good. I don't know what possessed me to decide to read it that day, but I did, and it was it was so good. So to find out that it was a duology, and I didn't have to invest too much time in a very long series, but there was one more that was coming out. I believe it came out sometime in the summer, and I pre-ordered it, and I was ready, and it's beautiful, and it matches the other one, and I love it, and I still have not read it. So, yeah, I am really excited to get around to this one when I do. So hopefully, it'll be sooner rather than later. We can hope. The next book is also one that came out this year. It came out in March, I believe, and I still have the ARC. I never actually bought the official one because my ARC is signed, and that is The Everlasting Rose. This is the sequel to The Bells. Yeah, this is the year of the sequels I didn't read. So this one I actually got signed by Danielle Clayton. Lauren and I both got a copy of this at Y'all Fest last year, and Danielle Clayton was near where I used to live with her, and so we brought our books to listen to her talk. One of Lauren's favorite authors was also there, so she signed our copy, and I'm very, very excited about that. And I still haven't read it yet. I really enjoyed the first one, so I just haven't gotten around to this one yet, and I have no reasoning why. I should. I have no one to blame but myself. The next 4 books that I actually have to show you are all part of the same series, and that is The Bride Quartet, I believe is what this one is called. It is by Nora Roberts. This is a story about weddings, and it takes place with 4 different friends who are all part of the same wedding event planning company, and it's basically love stories for all of them. One takes care of the overall planning, one takes care of the bouquets, one takes care of the cake, and one is the photographer, I believe. I really wanted to read this before I got married because I was in the wedding brain, and that's really why I picked these up. I found all 4 of these at a library sale for $1 each, I think. So I really, really, really wanted to read these around the time that I was getting married because I was in that mindset. But obviously that didn't happen. I don't know what I was thinking, because, like, let's be honest, when you're getting married and you're planning your own wedding, even though I had so much help from so many people, and I'm super lucky that, like, Chris wanted to be as invested in it as he was, which was great. It, like, took a lot of stress off my back. I don't know why I thought I was going to get 4 books in during this time. Like, that's not a logical thought. Yeah, I don't know what the thought process was, but it would have been great if I had finished them. The next book on this list is the first in a series, and I only have the first and the third. I don't actually have the second one yet. And I was waiting on getting the second one to see if I liked the first one. And that is Every Heart a Doorway by Shauna McGuire. This is the first, and I don't even know what this series is called. The Wayward Children series? That sounds right. But I have this one and then the third one, which is Beneath the Sugar Sky. So, like, they're super teeny. They're like novellas, and it's all about people like Alice in Wonderland, the kids from Narnia, like going into worlds that are different and then basically coming back to the real world and how they deal with it. And this takes place in, like, a home for all of these kids, and the others, I think, are like prequels to the story and, like, going into different worlds. But it just sounds really interesting, and I just, like, they're so tiny. I could have squeezed this in somewhere, but did I? No, of course I didn't. So I really wish I had started the series, even if I didn't get the second one or read the third one. Like, I wish I had at least read the first one. I really want to see what my thoughts are, and like I said, it's super thin. I love tiny books, these, like, really cute novellas, but I never did anything with this one. So yeah. The next one is one that I publicly said on this channel that I wanted to read by the end of the year. Have I? No, I have not. I think I said it in either my finally fall book tag, or maybe it was the end of the year book tag. I can't remember. It was one of those tags that I definitely mentioned this book in, and I still have not read it. And that is Lovely War by Julie Berry. This is one of the books that I found at the end of last year that was coming out this year that I was very excited about. And when I found it, I loved it. It's awesome. It's a historical fiction, but it also deals with, like, the Greek gods, because, like, Aphrodite is pulling some strings in here. So it seems like it's a historical fiction with, like, some, like, hints at fantasy. So I love it. I love a lot about this. So, like, I'm just gonna read you this, like, very top part because it's, like, what grabbed my attention. It says, a sweeping, multi-layered romance set in the perilous days of World Wars I and II, where gods hold the fates and the hearts of 4 mortals in their hands. So, like, I love it. It's like a chunk of a book, though. I feel like this would be one that I would get through really quickly, but, like, it's, like, the text is not the biggest, but, like, I'm seeing all of these different chapters that are from different people's perspectives. Aphrodite, Apollo, Ares, Hades is in here. Like, I love mythology. I love the gods. I just didn't read this. So, like, this is me publicly saying that I am a failure, but it is fine. Everything is fine. So hopefully next year, but we'll see. That's just gonna be the motto for this entire video. Going back to the very beginning where, you know, I said I needed to finish sequels, this is also another one that I was very excited about when it came out this year. And the third one in the series has been announced, and there's a novella for this that just came out, and that is The Lady's Guide to Petticoats and Piracy by Mackenzie Lee. This is the sequel to A Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue. This is from the sister's perspective, and I loved The Gentleman's Guide. It was the very first Owl Crate book that I ever got, and I loved it. Like, it's up there on my shelf, but I keep looking at it. But, like, the more I think about it, the more fun it is. So, like, I'm really intrigued by this one. I haven't heard a whole lot about this. From what I remember when it came out, I feel like a lot of people liked it, but didn't like it as much as the first one. But, yeah, this is another sequel that I haven't read yet, so good times. And the very last book that I have on this list of books that I wish I read this year is one that I believe I bought in either January or February this year. It was relatively soon, right after I'd made all of my lovely 2019 goals, and I was trying to stick with them. We'll see how that works in a few weeks. But I picked this one up because one of my goals was to read harder hitting novels, and I didn't have quite as many, and this one just kind of got my attention, and that is 4321 by Courtney Stevens. So this follows 4 teens who are the survivors of a bus bombing that killed 15 other people, and they go back for an art installation of pieces that were left over from the bus that just kind of memorialize it, basically. And so it follows the 4 of them and one of the significant others of one of them as they basically like deal with their guilt, because they all feel guilty for being the 4 survivors when everybody else died. So it's definitely a lot harder hitting, and the cover is what grabbed me because I think this cover is just stunning. Can you see how amazing this is? Because it's so pretty. I love it. But this was one that I definitely bought to help me fulfill that goal of mine, and I just never got to it. So that is why this one is on this list. So these are all the books, minus the entire Bride Quartet, that I wish I had read this year. And I didn't. So I had a problem with sequels, apparently. Like, I didn't mind, like, I read The Wicked King, which was the sequel to The Cruel Prince. So, like, and I finished the Three Dark Crowns series. So, like, I was reading series, but I guess, like, sequels to firsts, it's just a problem for me this year. What are some books that you wish you had read this year? Name, like, 1 or 2 that you're like, oh, yeah, I wish I had made time for that one. I would love to know. Do any of yours coincide? Oh, that was fun. That could have been really bad. Do any of the books that I have here, were there any of those the books that you wish you had read this year? Let me know down below. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, make sure to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe if you want to be part of this awesome growing family. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!